introduce Craig Carsden from CPISRA, which is a Cerebral Palsy International Sport and Recreation Association, who is joining us today to tell us about many of the exciting programs that they run around that involve children, families and adults too, and some of the work that they do, and also maybe a little bit about how they got to where they are. So over to you, Craig, and thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Miriam. It's great to be here, and I really look forward to having a chat. I've got a very short presentation, but I won't put it up on the screen, but I can share it with you later. I'll put it into a PDF rather than me roll on doing a PowerPoint. I say it's better just for me to have a bit of a chat with people. Yeah, my name's Craig Carsden, and I was born with cerebral palsy. I am a right-sided hemiplegic, and I've been lucky enough to be involved in sport almost the whole of my life. I probably started doing sport when I was 3 or 4. I was very lucky in that respect. Both my parents were sporty, and my grandparents was also sporty, and I was always encouraged to take part in sport. And 30 odd years after being born, I actually competed in the Paralympics, but my journey through sport wasn't about being an elite athlete. It was about enjoyment, pleasure, and the social interaction that I got from sport. I think that was always my main thrust. I don't do any competitive sport anymore, and the thing I probably miss about my sporting life now is not the competition, the camaraderie that I actually gained from being amongst fellow sport people. I'm the CEO of an organisation called Cerebral Palsy International Sport and Recreation Association. We're a relatively small organisation. We have got members worldwide in 46 countries, and historically we were the governing body for cerebral palsy sport, most notably boccia and football. Obviously, we made them independent a number of years ago, and the last decade or so, we almost contemplating a navel of a better expression, and what should we do? How should we progress? And we felt that the organisation still had work to do about raising awareness about cerebral palsy, but also trying to always had recreational titles, but we've never actually championed recreation until about 4 or 5 years ago, and so that was the direction of travel we take. A lot of that decision was actually prompted by we got out amongst our Facebook user group, and I think 1,000 people were surveyed in this, and all the people surveyed, and you think about it, they're following us on Facebook, so they must have been interested in sport and recreation, but only 1 in 5 actually had done any recreational activity. And so we set about to try and change that. And we did our first adult camp in 2019 in association with Alvin Trust in the Lake Districts. And we followed that up, COVID interventions. We a family camp in August 21, and an adult camp again in September of last year, and just in April of this year we when we had a team camp, and the purpose of that camp was to give teenagers a chance to be their own, interact with peers, with their parents and guardians, that the parent are with them, but they were in separate groups, so they had that chance to be independent or have independence. The camp was run by the Bendrick Trust, and that's another group that are based in the Lake District. Calvin Trust, 3 places. They've got one in the Lakes, one in Exeter, and one in the more central lakes towards Northumberland as well. And Bendrick are also based in the Lake District. And these camps have proved very successful to the extent that this year's camps were 4 times oversubscribed, and we've got a waiting list. We'll be running 3 camps again next year. Again, the family, adult, and the teen camp. In terms of recreation and getting active, there's several reasons why it's important, and it's not about it's not about even going on to do sport. It's just about getting yourself active and getting outside and soaking in the fresh air. But there's 4 benefits, probably 4.5 benefits, depending on what age you are. But activity in itself can increase aerobic capacity, increase cardiorespiratory health. There's psychosocial benefits. Again, just like you're doing tonight, you're actually interacting with your peers, but wouldn't it be so much better to interact with your peers out in the fresh air and so forth? So that is another reason. It can increase muscle strength, increase motor control and coordination, and it can also enhance health through increased physical activity. It also can help combat the effects of aging, the aging process, and those of cerebral palsy. Em and I were just having a discussion before you come on, and we were saying that as you go older, your cerebral palsy and your aches and pains seem to get increase. But if you exercise, that it doesn't stop it happening, but it can reduce the severity of that happening, and it makes it less, maybe less noticeable. That was CPISRA's. That's our main recreational activity. We're in the process, hopefully, of rolling these recreational camps out internationally. We hope to run one in Australia, probably in January, February next year. Our Australian member will be doing that, and we also hope to do similar things in Europe and in the US going forward. But it's again, the problem that we have as an organisation, a lot of our members are still too sports focused, not enough about recreation, and actually the fact that health and well-being, a lot is talked about it in the press, but it's and it equally applies, and probably actually more applies to those with disabilities, and especially those with cerebral palsy. And it's something that I am very passionate about. As I say, I as a kid, I was playing football, golf, running, cricket, whatever, and I had no intention of going to the Paralympics. It's just did it because I enjoyed it. I knew it was good for me, and I was encouraged to do it. And I was fortunate enough to get to the Paralympics. But sport is about the camaraderie and the just getting out there and being active and improving your health. That's what CPISRA is all about. presentation I've done is we'll give you some of the camps, and if you're interested, you can contact us and sign up. I think there's still some places for the adult camp in September, but certainly the family camp and so forth, and the camp will be taking of interest in next year. That's what CPISRA is all about, and it's about getting out there, being active, and it's the old adage, fit in mind, fit in body, is so true, because it does such a good stress relief. And I don't do a lot of activity now. I walk my dogs. I do a lot of gardening, and I do a bit of swimming. And it's just getting you out of the house, and getting yourselves active. And there's some. I've got some very simple tips here. I was asked to give 5 tips, and the first one that I would say is use the steps to be active. Which stands for space, tasks, equipment, people, and it just takes one element of our activity to change one element, and it makes it so more inclusive. And if you're out with a family, or your family and out with friends, like an example, 10-pin bowling. It's simple. Put the barriers up and potentially use the slide to roll the ball. You're being active, and you're out there with your friends, family, colleagues, whatever. That's a very simple one, but it's a very practical one, and there's lots of 10-pin bowling alleys around, so that they all have the sides and the slides available. When I was preparing for this presentation, I actually did a bit of research myself, and our 2 members in the UK are CP Sport and Scottish Disability Sport. You're probably aware, probably more so cerebral palsy sport. The CP Sport been around a long time, and if you're interested in sport or leisure or activities and recreation, have a look at their website. And the same with Scottish Disability Sport, and if you're based in Scotland. But you should also have a look at the Activity Alliance website, and there's some great tips and advice on that website. And one of the things that they've got on that website is their active gyms. Oh, no, sorry, not active. All gyms are active. That's a bit of but it's inclusive gyms, and so that they've got a database of gyms, for example, in the UK that are accessible. So that is another good website. But also look closer to home. I'm fortunate enough to live and work in Cornwall, and I did a bit of a Google search. One of my on my bucket list, I want to do some paddle boarding at some point, and I've actually found a paddleboard group that are accessible and will give tuition abilities. Back to the Alvin Trust, their Explore facility, they've got a link with a local surf school, and they've got accessible surfboards, and also wheelchairs that go onto the beach and so forth. So that's again something that you should be looking out for. But it's out there where you just something you've just got to find it and look for it. So that's my second tip for you. The third one is just getting out and about. Go for a walk or go for a push just around your local area. It's quite, I say, I know sometimes pavements can't be that accessible. Just have a go and reputation. Maybe just 10-15 minutes around from your house is give you just get out and see what's out there and just try and be that bit more active, more time. So that's the third tip. But I say I know it's easy for me to say because I'm relatively mobile, and some of you will have to be relying on assistance, etc. But just try and have that conversation with them, and just ask them to go out and for 15-20 minutes, or maybe every second day. And again, in terms of don't do too much too early, just build it up gradually, and just really think about it. I'm a great believer in my little Fitbit here, and I monitor my sleep patterns, my steps, my heart rate, and I think it gives you a real good idea of what your level of fitness is, and what you've been doing and what you haven't been doing, more to the point. So that would be my another tip for you. Tip number 4 is again, if you can walk and you're going somewhere, maybe park your car, maybe an extra 100-200 yards from where you're going, and do that extra bit of walking. And on the same, if you're in a wheelchair, an extra few meter cars, and just give you that bit more exercise, and keep yourself mobile, and try and stretch yourself, even if it's just watching the TV. I'm doing my hands and my arms, especially my fingers. I am very I am forever doing exercises with my hands and my fingers, just to keep them mobile. Very simple. Even just the stress ball, holding the stress ball and holding it, so I'm actually manipulating my fingers. That little bit helps so much, and that's it. I'll do here. I can just show you, but I've got a bowl here. Sorry, just like, I don't know. Here we are. Yeah, you see, just very simple, just nice and flex it. A really simple thing, and it's easy to do. It doesn't cost anything, but it actually does help you some exercise. In addition, again, while I was researching, I looked at some of the there's lots of exercise videos for wheelchair users out there, and really simple tips using a broom handle just to get your body active. So that is another aspect of it. And my 5th and final tip, use it as a way to go out and meet friends, exercise with friends, and challenge each other to get out and exercise. I was a member of a running club for 20 odd years, and the benefit of being a member of a club, you always had somebody to exercise with. If you're on your own and it's raining, you might not go out the door, but if you've arranged to meet somebody to go and exercise, then the more chance you are you'll actually do it. So that is my tips for you, in a brief summary of what CPISRA is all about. Excuse me, but I'm happy to take any questions at all, and if anybody's got any thoughts and comments or have any questions for me, just fire them away, please.
I'm coming off mute now. Thank you so much, Craig. That was really, really informative, and it was brilliant listening to your top tips. I've got a question. I'm going to come back to the top tips, but I wanted to find out one of the things around the recreation is, are there criteria around if you have a carer and you want your carer to come with you? How would that work?
We accommodate carers. That's part of the package. So if somebody was, I think I looked at some figures this morning for the adult camp, and I think of the 8 people who've signed up so far, I think 6 of the carers with them. So we just that is part of the package. Obviously, we've got to charge a price for that. We've been very fortunate this year that our teen camp and the family camp are self-financed so far. Sorry, are being grant funded, so there's no cost. I think we're still looking at grants for the adult camp, and at the moment there will be a small charge, but the carers are welcome, and we would expect if somebody has a carer at home for them to bring their carer with it. It also, to be quite honest, it also saves CPISRA some issues, because we don't have that safeguarding and the care issues that we could come across. So actually, it protects us in some ways that you've got a carer with you.
Brilliant, thank you. Emma, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could elaborate on some of the activities that you do at the camp.
Yes, certainly. Sorry, I should have actually covered that. We do everything from crafts. They do wood crafts in terms of building your own fire and all that sort of stuff. They do canoeing, rafting, abseiling, and the one that they did last year, I can never. It's basically you climb a waterfall, which basically just means you get wet. But the people who did it loved it. But abseiling, canoeing, sailing is really the top ones. If you wanted, I've actually got a short video of the adult camp. If you want, I could find it and show it to you.
That would be lovely if it's not too complicated.
Yeah.
I know what I'm like with IT. I'm not so good.
Yeah. Just give me a second. I can see if I can find it. Here we are. Can you
should be able to share your screen, Craig.
Yeah, just a view.
We can't see it on the screen at the moment.
No, I'm trying to. I'm as good with technology.
You should have at the bottom of your screen something that says share screen. Okay.
Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And you can see there how accessible the equipment is.
Oh, wow.
You can see how the more able are allowed to be a bit more active and this is a wheelchair obstacle course they have, and you'll just see how it moves. So that is of the farm. That was the adult camp in 2019, and we actually the 21 camp we changed the activity slightly as well because that camp some of the more able people wanted more, felt that they needed more challenges, so we put in one or two things that they could do, and the waterfall thing was one of these. And actually that was it was called scrambling of some sort, and it was really, but you had to almost have a wetsuit on because it was quite the water was quite deep, and but the abseiling at the Calvert Trust didn't show it there, but we did that second year as well. We're up there, and that was really everybody, but it's really accessible that a wheelchair user can do it, somebody who's ambulant can do it, and it's safe. There's a risk, there's no risk to it, but it still gives you that adrenaline rush, which is brilliant. And the staff at Calvert and Benrig are absolutely wonderful, and they look after the people who are doing so well. I actually went as a participant to the adult one last year, and they even managed to get me over the edge of a cliff, and abseil, and I'm scared of heights, so that's something that we should be very proud of. But yeah, so that's what my recreational camps. Like I say, they're Calvert Trust and Benrig. They do group bookings, but they also do individual bookings. So if a family wanted to get down to the one in Exmoor, they could do, and combine that with a beach holiday as well. So there's lots of options, but I think they are very busy, and I think you would be reluctant probably, and you would be difficult to book up for this year, but certainly next year we'd probably have.
Greg, we've got a few people wanting to ask some questions, so I'm going to try and spotlight them so people can ask their questions. I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is, but hello, and thank you for joining us.
It's Ruth Ann.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's Ruth Ann. It's just
Ruth
that
Ann.
she's got RM on it, so it was like,
Ah.
oh, is it Ruth Ann?
So you're better than me. I only saw half your face, Ruth Ann.
What was I going to say? You see I think it was one of the camps. Is it in Scotland? Because I'm in London, so I'm thinking of the distance.
Yeah, it's not quite in Scotland. It's up in the northwest of England in the Lake District, so it's just south of the border. It's a bit of a distance, but there's other things that you could maybe try out in London as well. I'm thinking of I'm sure the water centre at Stratford, the Olympic Park. I'm sure they have got some disability accessible stuff there, and I can actually research that for you. But again, just easiest way is just to go into Mr. Google and see what adaptive sports and what recreational opportunities there are in London. And I'm sure Emma, I think Emma's a Londoner, so Emma might be able to help you. I used to be based in London, but I moved there a number of years ago. But I know even then there was a few things that you could do with that. Certainly the water sports centre at Stratford might be a place that you could maybe try canoeing or something like that.
Lee Valley as well.
Yeah.
There are some adaptive sports,
Yeah.
which is where they did the water sports for the Olympics weekends.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay, thank you.
And next we're going to come to Dean. I'm just going to remove your spotlight and put it on Dean so he can ask his question. Oh, you jumped on my screen, Dean.
I think Jamie was before me, to be honest.
It's okay. I'm just doing it in terms of my computer. Sorry, I'm just doing it as kind of ease for me. That's all.
Okay, all right, okay. So shall I ask my question now then?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, it wasn't a question. It was just more of a comment, really. You know, Craig. I mean, it's like we've had speakers and they speak to us, and the general, they've given presentations, but to actually see the video of your film of what CPISRA is actually doing, it just brings it to life. And when I saw that, it just gave me a real smile on my face, because it just reminds you what can be. I think, like what you said before, don't think what you can do, think what can be achieved, really, and it's I'd love to have a go on that swing. I'd probably call it something else, but I call it a swing.
Well, it's great fun. I say I had a second go at it when I was up the you're right. There's my father had I'm dyslexic, and so I'm not very good at spelling. I can't use a dictionary. And my father used to tell me as a youngster that there's no such word as can't. And he would ask me to find it in a dictionary, which I couldn't. And that's something that I've certainly been brought up all my life, is if you want to try something, give it a go. And you might not be any good at it, but at least give it a go.
Do you know, I'm going to add something to that. My dad also used to say there's no such word as can't, but then he used to say there is such a word as cannot, and if you put yet on the end of it, you've got a really good sentence. Cannot do it yet. Yeah. So that's what he used to say.
That must have been this a generational thing for parents. But yeah, my father, he knew nothing of his disability, but he knew how to motivate and encourage.
Brilliant. Right, I'm going to remove your spotlight, Craig, and I'm going to come over to Jamie. And I'm going to put the spotlight on you, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Emma.
Right, 3 questions, but we'll be quick.
Don't worry, you have all the time in the world.
Lovely to hear you talk, Craig. Firstly, one. So the wheelchair, we've just been discussing this. Jamie uses an electric wheelchair.
Yeah.
if he was to come to one of the camps, would he need to bring a manual wheelchair, or would there be one on loan? Would you have them spare, you know, for like going down to the edge of the water and stuff? And
Yeah, they would be able to. I think, I would double check. But I think they have spare wheelchairs there, and I think the reason I know that Pauline, who was featured in the film, her electric wheelchair, the battery actually waterlogged because it was so wet.
that's what we were worried about.
And we managed to get the wheelchair repaired, but they had a manual chair that they could use for her, and so that answer to the question is yes. There would be manual chairs available.
Thank you. Okay, second question.
That's one down.
Okay, would you want to do the one with the family first? I want to say that. Yeah. How does it work? Yeah. How does it work with? Can you hire carers, or do you need to bring your own? Someone like Jamie needs quite a lot of help with stuff.
Well, as I said earlier, we have capacity to bring carers with the participants, and I think one person actually had 2 carers with them last year at the adult camp. He was probably even more significantly impaired than Jamie, so they had 2 carers, and he was getting fed by a tube as well. So that there's scope, and we'll try and accommodate anybody that wants to come. We'll try and find a way. That's and Calvert Trust will try and find a way, as will Bendrick Trust, to accommodate. So the carers are welcome, and as I said, that actually they're an integral part of the week or the weekend, or how long they are, and I think the carers get as much out of it as well, because they're encouraged to get involved as well as looking after the participant. They're also encouraged to take part as well. And you'll see again, you look at Pauline, the crew, her carers paddling with Billy over behind her as well, and everybody gets involved, and it becomes a real good team building. And I know that the 2019 camp, they started a WhatsApp group, and that WhatsApp group's still very, very active. But I know some of them meet up independently of the camps now as well, which is great as well. That's what was one of the reasons behind the camps, because as well as the thing I said that before, about 20%, only 20% take part in recreation. Another part of the survey also suggested that there's quite a significant amount of loneliness amongst the group, or that is surveyed, and the camps help they create a peer group and a friendship group, which is so important.
Jamie goes on respite breaks and Jamie goes to a respite break in Southport, a place called Sandpipers, a revitalised charity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a family. Yeah, a lot of, and gelling goes on. It's quick, isn't it? Really, such an involved situation. Yeah. Okay. So then you want to get your third question in, and let me move on to someone else. We looked on the website and saw that you've got family camps for young disabled people and their families, which is great. How would something work with Jamie and myself? Jamie's a disabled parent. We've got 2 kids. how does that, could we fit in anywhere on the spectrum of possibilities?
That is a great question, and we haven't catered yet for that type of family, but there's always scope. If there's demand, and by what you've said, there is a demand. And I'm looking at Emma there as well, and she's laughing. We'll at least get two. We've at least got 2 volunteers or 2 participants. It's another element that you're right. We haven't overlooked it, but we felt we had to start somewhere with family, and that will evolve, and that could be the next way it does evolve, because a family can mean so many different things, and who's the disabled person within that family can be different depending on the circumstances. The reason we focused on the younger children was to give them the idea that they could be the centre of a holiday, and whereas if you go to centre parks and you with cerebral palsy go to centre parks, but you're always looking through what can we do, what's accessible. Everything that Calvin Trust is accessible, and they're the main focus, and that doesn't always happen. But that you've just given me a great idea, and I'll be working on that. So that is an element I'll be passing on to my development managers tomorrow morning. When I have work with my trustees meeting. But yes, so thank you for that question. A really good question, and I'll take it on board and think about how we can do it.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks.
No problem.
I've got 2 questions in the chat to ask. One is following showing that brilliant video, are there similar activities for the family camp?
Yeah, they're exactly the same. The first family camp we had at Exmoor, and they have a rope outside the swing, outside. I forget. Yeah, it goes down a zip wire. That's what I was looking for. They have an outdoor zip wire, and again, that is. And what I can do, we transfer over both videos. I've got a video of the adult camp that I've showed you, and I've actually done what I actually created one myself for the family camp, and I can send that over to you as well. And they did the abseil in the family camp, and there's a classic scene where there's a guy probably aged 10 going over the side in his wheelchair, and he's singing to himself, "I don't want to die, I don't want to die," but he's loving it, and the feedback we got from that camp was quite incredible, how much an impact it made on the families, and it really did work. But so I'll send both these videos through to you, Miriam, and you can share them with the people on the Zoom meeting. That's no problem.
Fantastic, thank you. Just adding to your list of families where the parents have the needs for accessible. We've also got, if you can add grandparents. So one of our, Jean's put it for everyone, so I can say it's Jean Martin, who has asked, please cater for able grandchildren and disabled grandparents as well.
Yeah, that's
so there you go.
We're
3 generations.
If I had the capital, I would actually invest and build my own place in the middle of Europe somewhere, and it wouldn't be. It would be like Disney World. It would be disabled world, and I think you could make a fortune. And I'm surprised somebody hasn't actually done it already.
Lillian's got her hand up. I don't know if you can. You're on mute, Lillian, just so that you know. Are they?
Right. I'm wondering, is there anything available in Ireland? I'm in Dublin now, and I know this is really for the UK, but I'm wondering, do you know of any family camps or anything available?
I don't know of any anything going on in Ireland in terms of recreational camps. I can make some inquiries for you, but obviously you wouldn't just because you're in Ireland, they are international camps, and you would be more than welcome to come to the camp in the Lake District. But I can find out some more information. I know we don't have a member in Ireland at the moment. The CP organisation in Ireland folded a number of years ago, but I can make some inquiries for you and get
that would
some.
be wonderful.
Yeah.
It would be too difficult for us to travel because we've little kids as well, little small toddlers, but it would be terrific. I mean, it's badly lacking here. We don't have anything like that.
Well, I say it's we've been very, very lucky to build that partnership with the Calvert Trust and Benrig, because they're in big demand, but they can cater for. We at the moment do ours CP specific, because I think cerebral palsy, CPISRA, we believe that there is a distinct difference between those with cerebral palsy and those with other disabilities. There's a community out there with people with cerebral palsy, and we're underrepresented. I think in terms of we don't shout enough about what we can and can't do and what we don't get, and other groups maybe shout more than we do. So that is, but I can certainly try and find out some more information about Ireland, and I'm sure that there's.
That would be lovely. That would be terrific. I mean, how would I link you with you?
You'll go through Emma and Miriam. That's probably the easiest way to start with. But I say I'll certainly look into that and get back to you on it.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Problem.
Thank you.
I think also, sorry to interrupt, Lillian, if you go onto CPISRA's website, I think, Craig, your email would be there as well.
Yeah, and
okay.
Either that or info at CPISRA as well. Get through to me, but by all means contact me. I'm sure there's something. I've got one or two contacts within the Paralympic committee there that might be able to help and advise if there's anything. But that's no problem.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
So can I just ask just to expand a little bit more, just so I can understand? So the Calvert Trust and Bendrick, they have camps that are accessible camps.
They have the facilities that are accessible, and individual, either groups or individuals can actually book to attend, and we book it. We book the accommodation, and then discuss with Calvert and Bendrick what activities we want to put on. There's probably, say, about a choice of 20 different activities, and we'll maybe pick 10 for our week and so forth, almost to suit who's going. They've also got horse riding, for example, and it's all riding for the disabled equipment, so that they're accessible as well. But we book it, and then we'll discuss with them. But you could, as even adult CP hub could actually organise their own camp if they wanted. And not that I'm putting any pressure on you, but it's as far as I'm concerned, demand is there, and we had the idea, but as I say, what is it? Say, flattery and copying is a form of flattery. So it's go for it if you thought it was going to help your organisation, and or partner us in going forward. But I do like the idea. I really do like this idea of the family with the parent who's disabled. That would be. I could think of a few people who could actually benefit from that.
I think I'm moving swiftly on before I find myself hanging over a cliff. Dean's got his hand up again, so I'm going to come back to you, Dean. And then if anybody else wants to ask a question, do please put your hand up and I can make sure that your question is answered.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. Craig, I don't want to take the spotlight away from you and from your wonderful things that you've been discussing about CPISRA tonight, which has been absolutely brilliant. But in response to what Lillian was saying about Ireland, and I'm not talking about Northern Ireland, I'm talking about the Republic of Ireland, I was asked to help set up a group, an online group for people with cerebral palsy, specifically for adults with cerebral palsy who live in the Republic of Ireland. And it was really, really hard to get people to talk. And I'm saying that in response to what you want, because you said like there's no facilities, if you know, Lillian, of anyone, you know, in Dublin, in the Republic of Ireland, anybody else, you know, who wants to, you know, find out information on, you know, any activities, you know, that's similar to what Craig's doing or anything else, can I suggest that you talk to each other, because it's a shame for Dublin, it's a shame for the Republic of Ireland. I've never been, I'd love to go, I've got friends over there, and you know, you're lovely, lovely people, and I know you can talk, so start talking.
Yeah.
Can I just make a point on that? Did adults CP Hub not do a thing in conjunction with a group in Ireland quite recently as well about aging cerebral palsy?
Yeah, we have lots of colleagues in Ireland, so yeah, we can talk to our colleagues too, Lillian.
I know we have the Wheelchair Association here, and they run activity camps for children. Like it's like a little summer program. But I was thinking more in terms of the family, like an outdoor camp or like Centre Park, do that type of activity. And I do know there's something going on up in Dungannon. It's called conductive education, but it's very broad. Do you know what I mean? I don't know enough about it either. I've been trying to get information. Very difficult. Very difficult.
I think what's unique about your organisation, Craig, is your ethos about getting everybody moving and getting everybody active, which is what you know, we've been talking a lot about at the hub, and how it's not just about the individual getting active, but it's about the family getting active and also having positive experiences of activity. And like you said, when you were growing up, Craig, you had a family that were really into sports and recreation and didn't know too much about disability, but knew the importance and the value of sport and how that's been then part of your life. And that's the ethos that I really like about CPISRA, is about how, you know, you can put the person with a disability first and foremost in terms of giving them positive experiences of activities, and that's what's really. I wonder, whilst you're on, and we don't have another question lined up just yet, I'm sure they're all coming. Could you just tell us a little bit about your work within the Paralympic movement and how that's taking you, you know, where that's taking you and your knowledge from there and what that's given you?
Yes, certainly. I'm one of these people that I find it difficult to say no, and I'm very much. I've been CEO of this organisation, CPISRA, for 4 years now, but I was a volunteer with the organisation for 20 odd years. I've got a soft spot for CP Sport because they were the organisation that gave me my first opportunity back in the day, and again, first organisation that treated me like an elite athlete, and that stayed with me, and I've organised their athletics program for probably a decade. I was involved with CPISRA as the athletics coordinator, and I then 14 years ago I got involved with Denmark and discovered race running. And for those that don't know, race running, a great activity for any age, any ability, but it's a three-wheel frame that you're supported by a breastplate, and you can actually help you ambulate no matter where you live with disability. And for the last 14, 15 years, I've been working trying to develop that as a Paralympic athletics event, a para-athletics event, and we succeeded in that in 2017. We developed rules, regulations, and classification system. The new classification system came out, is due to come out this year, and when that happens, it will be a fully fledged para-athletics event. Through that involvement, I also became an international classifier for athletics, a technical classifier, so I classify for all athletics events. So that's my main roles. I also, before I joined CPISRA as an employee, I was a tax inspector for 30 odd years, and so I've got a fairly good financial brain, and I'm great at double entry bookkeeping. I was actually treasurer of the European Paralympic Committee for almost a decade, and I was fundamental in securing a grant from the EU to host and run first youth games from the European Paralympic Committee. That happened in 2012, and that had a budget of €500,000, I should say, and that was quite a challenge. I was financial manager for that project, which is, to do that as a volunteer was quite scary at times. But yeah, I was always brought up, you put something back. And that is certainly something that I've done. I prefer talking about the organisation rather than talking about myself. It doesn't come naturally to me to talk about myself. But yeah, I've done a fair bit in terms of. But my classification is, I think in the work I've done in frame run is what I'm probably most proud of, and as well as obviously the recreational camps. I think the recreational camps is a great idea, and I wish, although I had a great upbringing and I was involved in sport, I would have loved to have done some of this stuff, adaptive stuff, 30, 40 years ago, rather than scaring the life out of my parents doing it able-bodied. I was going to say something else there, and I just remembered I was live on air. But yeah, when I was 15, 16, 17, I would take risks. Some of the things that I did then were actually because I did abseil and rock climb without any adaptions, which didn't do very well, and it probably wasn't very safe. But that's the way things were back then. But no, that's back to certainly my classification, the work we've done in frame run. I think that's defined what CPISRA has been about over the last decade, and I've been lucky to work with some great people. And what we've done with that sport, it started off as a sport in Denmark, and I think now 25 countries now take part in frame run. And I was sceptical when I went over to Denmark at the start with. I wasn't sure, and I spoke to a young female athlete. She'd probably 12 or 13, and she said, "Craig," I asked her, well, why do you get involved? Why do you like your race running, frame running? She said, "It gives me freedom, and I can escape from my parents." and that just it just did something to my heartstrings. And I've been working, I say, tirelessly for the last 14 years in train running. And again, I won't name them because some of you might know the person, but I got an acquired brain injury. I fell into a frame about 7 or 8 years ago, and he went round the track, took it straight away, and his mother came up to me and said, "Thank you." And I said, "Why?" It's the first time I've seen Miles since his accident, and that's why I volunteer, because you get little snippets like that, and it really does. Sport and recreation can change lives, and that's why I'm involved, and that's why I'm still involved. That's a sum up of my career.
Thank you very much. Sorry for making you talk about yourself, but you've done such a lot of things. It's lovely to hear. There is another question. Is it Nile? I'm just gonna.
Yes. This is Nilay, and this is my son, Dennis.
Nice to meet you.
And you.
Thank you for organizing this meeting. Dennis and I moved to the UK last year, and we are trying to find out about the opportunities, different opportunities, activities, summer camps, and we found about Bandridge, and we already booked our place in there for September young adult camps.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes, I will be with him as his carer. But I have a question. I don't know if it is okay to ask to this group, but I'm searching for respite care centers. I sent a few emails to some of them, but I understand that most of them for older people, and I couldn't get any answers. So do you have any recommendations of the places? We live close to London, St. Albans, Hertfordshire. Do you have any ideas, or where should I, how shall I search about that? Do you have
Jamie,
any idea?
Jamie, have you got your hands up because you've got some answers? I think so. I'm just gonna.
Yes, I heard that he was going one of those places, and I was, curious about that. Yes, Jamie, thank you.
Jamie says, how old are you?
Dennis is 22. You can answer.
Where you go? It's got a use what you could. They do sports. Oh, okay. All right. So Joe was saying the place where he goes for respite also has a branch in it's just in outside London, it's on the central line. The charity is called Revitalise, and they do have 2 youth weeks a year, and it's really good fun, and a disabled person can go without care, and they've got 24-hour care and nursing support. It's absolutely fantastic. You might get funding, I don't know, and Jamie absolutely loves going, and just as a, and you can get as much care or as little care as you need. And as an aside, I used to volunteer at these centres 30 odd years ago, so I can say they're great as well. And he absolutely loves them. But if you just look at revitalise.org, yeah, Revitalise, ITALISE, revitalise.org, and you can find out all about that.
I just put it in the chat, actually, Nile.
Oh, yes. Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Was there anything else you wanted to
Thank
add,
you.
Craig? Was there anything else you wanted to add, Craig, from your experiences?
It's not really a subject that I know a lot about. I'm a trustee of Disability Cornwall down here, and I know it's a major issue, care assistance for all levels. So all I'd say is good luck, and I hope you find somebody. But it really is, I think it's a challenge at the moment across the UK.
We'd love to hear about your experience after you've been on one of the recreational camps in September, though.
We are very excited about that. Yes, Bendridge. We're looking forward.
Do you plan to do the activities too, is the question?
Oh, yes. Whatever they offer us, we want to do that, right, Dennis?
Good. We can't wait to hear about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask, there's another question in the chat that I wanted to ask, just looking at around the costings of the camps. And I don't know whether you're able to give us a bit more information around that, because obviously some people will not be able to get support for that.
Yeah. I appreciate that, and the cost of the teen camp and the family camp will be fully grant provided, so there'll be no cost to the people attending. At the moment, we're still working on grant applications for the adult camp in September, and I think for the 4 days of the camp, it works around that for 4 days, full board plus your activities, your bed and breakfast, around about £300 for the participant plus. So you're talking about £600 for 4 days, and that's all the activities of also the additional activities that CPISRA put on in the evening, plus t-shirts that you get from CPISRA. So that's the cost, but we try and keep the cost down as much as possible, and in the previous adult camps that we've managed to get enough grant support that we've managed to have carers attending at no cost. We're hoping, but at the minimum that will happen this year as well, but it's all grant dependent.
No, it's really good news for the teens and families, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it's a reflection on what charities want to support or really want to support, but that's another debate for another day.
Brilliant. So whilst there isn't anybody else with a direct question, I guess because one of my, oh, is that Shah? Did you want to ask a question?
Yeah. Is there anything in like Wales that Craig knows of, or?
I don't know about the type of the Bendrick Calvert. I do know there was a thing featured, I think it was last summer, and it was a water sports facility, and I think it was one of these big build type programs that they had on the television, and it's a water sports centre that's fully accessible and fully adapted for people with disabilities. So that's the only place that I know of in Wales. And again, I'm happy to find you more details of that place, because that are actually something that we would like to do at some point. I would prefer it to be in a warmer climate. But certainly I think there's a demand for a water sports facility. I know there's I would say about half a dozen places down in Cornwall now doing adaptive surf, paddle boarding, that sort of stuff. But there's certainly one in Wales. I want to say it's in the Gower Peninsula, but I'm not 100% certain. But certainly that place, and but let's see, but that's all the one I know of. But I can get you.
Yeah, if I attend one of your camps up in England somewhere, because I use an electric wheelchair, how access friendly is it for me to access everywhere?
There's no problem with you using an electric wheelchair at all. And as we discussed earlier, there is the facility to transfer into a manual chair, so you don't get too close to the water as well. You don't want your battery to get flooded, but we make sure that. But they're completely designed for electric wheelchairs. And the obstacle course on the film that I showed, it was actually one of the people on that was actually in an electric wheelchair, so that shows you what kind of fun you can have as well. So that's it's fully accessible, and you would really enjoy it.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
I've got two more queries that I'd like to ask, if that's okay. One was oh my. I've forgotten the first one. The second one was whether it would be possible for you to send us the details of the Cornwall paddleboard and surfing information.
I'll look them out for you, Miriam. That's no problem. It might take me a few days. Tomorrow I've got a trustees meeting, so it might be Friday or early next week, but I will try.
It's fine. I won't hold you to it because I know where you are, so I can chase you. So don't worry. But I think what's really exciting about what you've presented to us this evening is that there are opportunities out there for adapted, accessible activities, and you know, one of the things that we love to be able to do is be able to signpost people to these facilities. So, you know, I suppose it's a call out to everybody. If you do anything that you think that is so much fun, I know I live in this part of the country, but other people might want to hear about it. That's how, you know, these things that's how we inform each other, by sharing our knowledge and experiences, like Jamie has with Nyla and Dennis today, so on the respite care. So please, you know, any experiences anyone has over the summer, just throw them into us as well.
And I also would say that if anybody has does anything and has some film footage, or it would be happy to do a blog or a vlog or whatever the technical terms are, and share it with us. We will share it on our website and on our social media, so that a lot of other people can hear about it too. And often, if it's not just a blank piece of paper, if it's something like Craig showed, like a film, it gets everybody excited, and actually you can see what's possible because you can see other people doing it. So that would be really, really useful too.
And we also do a blog as well. So if anybody's interested in putting a blog onto CPISRA's website, please contact me as well.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Yeah,
there was a great blog we linked from Beth Moolam, who is obsessed with sport and activity. And I think she started doing activity at 6, and she discovered boccia at 10, and she's just retired as a Paralympian. So it's amazing to see the breadth of journey that people can have and enjoy.
But I would also like to add to that not everybody with a disability who likes sports has to end up in the Paralympic movement, because this is something that we often hear, and I feel myself, that we could just do sports to enjoy it, to make friends, and to have a good time.
You're right, Emma, and I make the point with myself. I didn't get involved in Paralympic sport until I was 34, but I was doing sport for the previous 30 years, and I was enjoying my sport and got a lot out of my sport before I got involved in the Paralympic movement. And so, you're 100% right. It's about enjoyment, it's the camaraderie. And when I was doing my bit with CP, I used to talk to parents. And one of the things I used to tell the parents was, make sure your child's here for the right reason, and that they want to be here, and not because you want them to be a Paralympian. And that got a lot of people thinking, because I came across a lot of people who were there, but they weren't really that interested in sport. But their parents thought it was, well, my son or daughter's disabled, therefore they'll be a Paralympian. All of that. It's actually hard to be. It's actually hard to become a Paralympian as an Olympian, because there's quotas for a number of athletes in both make a country. So it's actually in a country like the UK, where we've got a strength and depth within disability sport. It's actually very, very difficult to become a Paralympian. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy sport.
And
I've just remembered the last question. So one of the things that we've loved about doing with Midweek Matters, all the way from when we started in February, and all the different topics and subjects that we've been covering, is that we've got such a, as everyone knows, CP is such an umbrella term, and there's such a huge range of ability and activity level. And I'm just wanted to clarify, if you, obviously in the video, if you have use of your arms, some use of your arms, then it was fairly obvious. But if you don't really have good functional use of your arms or your legs, so you may need, you know, full seated support, are the activity centres still accessible for you as well?
Yes. I think on the video, we actually, the video showed one of the participants, Pauline Patterson, actually getting hoisted into the canoe.
Yeah.
And she's fully, she's supported at the back, and she's holding a paddle, and she's trying to use the paddle, but she's part of the group, part of the team working that canoe, or the kayak, whatever it is. So yes, they're fully, the obstacle course is actually designed specifically for wheelchairs and electric wheelchairs, and the electric wheelchair, when you go over some of these seesaws and the like, it's quite dynamic, and they really get a bit of a thrill out of it. And the swing and the swing that was featured also, that's fully accessible as well. They adapt. They adapt, and even they wouldn't come down in the abseil in an electric chair, but they have things that they can go into, and they're safe, and they would maybe come down and they maybe twin up and come down with somebody else if they were going down. Yeah, they'll cater for every level of disability.
Fabulous.
Thank you for that.